this?
All right, this is a WK1 Jeep SRT8 with a 427 Pro Mod 88 turbo, all custom built by JTM Motorsports. It's got a cage, it's got 3 racing seats in it, courtesy of the customer's needs. Has side exit exhaust, and I mean, this is probably as far as you could probably go with customizing. It's got a nitrous kit on it, it has fire suppression system, and it's fully wrapped, everything's hydrographed, and it's top notch. I mean, we do sell a custom turbo kit with a 67mm turbo for $8,500, but as far as everything else, there's a lot of money in this car.
Wow. I mean, it's 1,200 horsepower, so
yeah,
that didn't come easily.
No, it didn't.
And I mean, are there any limits to what you guys can do? What are the limitations on what you can do?
Not really. I mean, as far as these Jeeps go, there's, you do whatever you want. I mean, we have a twin turbo Hemi that's got about 3,000 horsepower, and we'll do everything from street cars to race cars.
I was going to ask you, what's the wildest car you've ever done?
Right now, it's going to be that Hemi Cuda.
Wow. You said 3,000?
Yeah, 3,000 horsepower.
Oh, that's upstairs?
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Okay, we'll be taking a look at that.
Right.
How do we find you guys?
You can look us up at jtmmotorsports.com, or just come check us out in Deer Park, Long Island.
What's your address in Deer Park?
880 Grand Boulevard.
It literally draws your blood from your foot to your brain. It's an astounding feeling. It changes the perception of speed and acceleration, and it changes the way you drive, because not only you try to perceive the amount of speed that you're feeling in your body, you also need to figure out when you have to hold the brakes to be able to stop that speed. And the acceleration is so rapid, and if you're on a highway, you really can't have anyone around you in a way that you can't trust other people anymore as far as instincts and things like that. It's just that gap in between two cars closes so quick that the sensory feelings in your brain is just you have to alter everything, that you figure out how to actually stop the car.
So it sounds to me like you're saying to me, this is the kind of car that you drive in another car that's a fast car, and you're like, yeah, this is a fast car. And then you go in here and you're like, that wasn't fast.
No, it changes the perception, definitely. And
wow.
And when they built it, they handed me the keys and they said, look, you got to promise one thing: don't do crazy stuff, because you got no competition. You don't have to compete with anyone. This is a whole different level. This thing will kill you so fast, you won't even recognize that you're dead.
You know what's very interesting? The way you describe this in terms of like you have to basically like clear the highway, that is very perfect to a description of motorcycles.
Sure.
You look at a guy who is way ahead.
Sure.
Normally,
Sure.
he's way ahead, but on a bike, he's not way ahead.
No,
you twist that throttle, and before you know it, like if you're not paying attention,
it gets to you so close, and then with the bike, it's actually much harder.
Yeah.
Because in this one, you have the sense of security, because I have roll cage, I have a huge mess protecting my body. With the bike, it's actually, that's why I'm not on a bike, obviously. But with the bike, it's actually a lot more dangerous and a lot more, I want to say, gutsy to be able to do that kind of speed and that kind of acceleration, where literally you're bare naked almost, and you're not protected by any kind of mass around you. And I take my hat off to those guys, but it's really it's just the blurring the line in between really playing with your life and having fun. So I'd rather be in a car like this and have roll cage and fire suppression and things and all that nature than be on a bike and have that thrill. But obviously it's something, I guess, unreplaceable when you experience it.
I'm guessing you've embarrassed some people in this. Can you name some types of cars that you've?
It all depends on the car. I mean, I've
crossed some egos.
I'll tell you the story of how I started the build. Actually, I really got my guts handed to me by a Honda Civic and a Jeep SRT8, and this guy was running 9 seconds on a quarter mile with this late model Honda, and hats off. I mean, he put a lot of work to it, and I really didn't think that it would happen, but it happened. So I said, I got to build the car, and it's a very reliable, fast car where it becomes a contender for some of the like high-end names like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and even stock GTRs. But obviously it depends on the car. I've done some racing with Lamborghinis, Ferraris. I did some roll racing, BMW M3s and Corvettes especially. Unless you have a serious horse-powered 4-wheel drive car, this car doesn't have any contender.
How bad is it though? I mean, do you destroy them, or you just in the front, or how bad is it?
Some is really embarrassing.
Really? Give me an example, something that you embarrassed.
I've raced with actually I have a video too. I raced with the BMW M3 modded, and it was pretty pissed off. It was trying to catch up on we did a 1600 foot roll race. We rolled in 50 mile an hour. I left the 1600 foot in 8.9 seconds. He left in 11. So it was pretty embarrassing. A lot of the guys actually who understand what it is, especially when they see the sight pipes, and if they know what they're doing, and they just don't come next to it. Especially in, let's say, one of the roll races I did in Pocono, you would see 300 cars lined up right next to each other, right? Two pairs. I would be the only guy that's alone, and then I'll have 2 guys at my back, and I would run the whole track by myself, and they just don't want to look bad next to a big Jeep like this, running away from them. So it's funny.
What's the deal with the pipes? You said unless they see the pipes. What does that mean?
When you see those dual pipes on the side coming in, one from left, one from right, you understand that there's something done to this truck.